What up, y'all? Corey here. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about why your website isn't attracting or converting leads and the 3 pillars that are essential to be able to do so. If we haven't met before, I own a marketing agency that is specific towards helping health brands to attract leads, and this is by far one of my favorite topics is websites, because that is one of the main services that I offer is website design and development. And in order to understand this, I want to tell you a quick story. So when I first got into website design and development, I thought that it was about design, aesthetics, color palettes, logos, those sorts of things. And although those things do matter, they actually don't matter as much as I thought they did. And it's because I didn't pay the ignorance tax that was required to start any business. And what I mean by that statement is that no matter what business that you're starting, that there is a lack of understanding of what that business is actually about until you get into it. And it took me a long time to realize that although yes, design matters, there's actually 3 other things that matter much more. And that is traffic, trust, and conversions. Those are the 3 things that we're going to get into on this episode, and how those are essential to be able to attract and generate leads to your website. All right, like I said, there are 3 things, and it's kind of like a 3-legged stool. If you don't have all 3 of these, then you're going to be left sitting on the floor. That's not a very sturdy stool. And the first one is traffic. So imagine opening a gym or a clinic in the middle of the woods with no roads to get there, and there's just a sign in the window that says open. Now imagine being upset that nobody came to your clinic or your gym. That would be insane, right? Yet that's what most people do with their website, is that they think if they just build a website and put it onto the internet, that somehow people are going to show up and get there. And that's literally never the case. There has to be that initial step of traffic, or in other words, attention. There has to be a way for them to get there. Sometimes this could be advertisement, sometimes this could be social media. And I actually get clients that come to me all the time is that they come to me with complaints about their website and their design and how they want to change it, when in reality, they actually don't have a design issue. They have a traffic issue. And there are many ways to attract traffic to your website. Here are a few examples. Blogging, social media platforms of any form, YouTube videos, Google business profiles are actually really powerful and often underestimated, especially if you're putting attention towards getting reviews. If you have a lot of really good reviews on a Google business profile, you're going to rank higher, especially for a local business that people are looking for you. You can also do this with an online business as well. Obviously, it's going to be more powerful for a local business, but that is one that's often underestimated. And even having backlinks, which is a fancy way of saying having other websites link back to your website. There are a whole host of examples that I could get into on this episode as to ways to get traffic to your website. But I think a deeper and more important question to ask yourself if you're trying to figure out where should I be getting this traffic is to answer this question. Where would my ideal customer be looking for my services? Would it be on Instagram? Would it be in a Facebook group? Would it be a Google search? Would it be on Google Maps like I was just talking about before? Knowing where the majority of your traffic is searching for your services or searching for the solution to the problem is the best place to start getting traffic. And once you understand the answer to that question, focus the majority of your effort on getting traffic from that single source until you have a very strong, robust road and a lot of traffic. Think about like building a really strong highway from whatever source that's coming from. And once you have a strong highway and a road going from whatever the source is to ultimately ending up on your website, then worry about building multiple roads. But the trick here is to focus on that single source of traffic and getting a good, consistent funnel from that source before you start worrying about building all sorts of roads and roundabouts and other things. But that's step number 1, is understanding where is that traffic coming from and how are you driving that traffic to your website. All right, pillar number 2 to attracting and converting leads on your website is to understand trust. So why does a CEO wear a suit or a police officer wear a uniform or a doctor wear scrubs? Functional, maybe. Comfortable, also maybe. But more likely, it's actually because it builds trust. When you see somebody in a uniform, you trust them more. When you see a doctor wearing a stethoscope and a scrub or a white coat, you trust them more. When you see a CEO in a nice, well-fitted suit, you trust them more. They are trust builders, and this is essential for working with anybody. Just to give you a quick story and example to drive home this point, I have a friend of mine who's a nurse practitioner, and she started an IV business. And as a pro bono, she offered me some free IVs with some vitamins and just to be kind, and she also wanted to create some content as well. And when I got there, I noticed that she was wearing her scrubs, right? She wasn't wearing anything grungy or sweatpants or anything like that. And it immediately immediately triggered a source of trust within me. This lady is about to jam a needle into my arm, which I admittedly am nervous about. I don't love getting needles in my arm. I've actually passed out in the past when I've had blood taken from me, which, fun fact, if you ever are giving blood or donating blood or need lab work, make sure you are very hydrated before you go to that session, because that was actually the mistake that I went. I think I might have actually just got out of like a workout in a sauna, and then I went and got blood drawn, for sure passed out. It was actually a funny story. A whole bunch of nurses laughed about it. So a little side note there. But my point is that when I got there, she was wearing scrubs. She looked very professional. She looked like she knew what she was doing. And that presented a sense of ease within me about that appointment as to what was about to happen. Well, guess what? Your website works the exact same way, is that when somebody lands there, they want to know without a shadow of a doubt that they can trust you. Here are some ways that you can build trust on your website. One of them is to have Google reviews. You can literally just like copy paste how many reviews you have on there. Video testimonials are amazing. Obviously, any form of testimonials are great, but by far, video is definitely the best, as we all know. Actually having your face or videos of you talking about your business, your story, whatever your founder story is super powerful. I think people underestimate is literally just having your face on there builds trust because they can see you and get to know you. Another one is having certifications or badges. These ones I think are maybe overrated in a lot of ways. Does anybody ever even actually look at those or even know what they mean? Not often. They're a little bit of a trust builder, but I do think they're overrated. And having some sort of emotional backstory, like an about page that really talks about how you got into what you did. Like I said, the founder story, those are really good trust builders for a website. And just as a final point on this trust factor, is people will need to know, like, and trust you, which is just sales marketing 101 before they'll actually work with you. And this is equally true for your website. All right, the third leg of this stool is to understand conversion. It is hard enough to get traffic to your website and to build trust with somebody on that website, but you have to have a way to actually convert that traffic. Even a really well converting website often only converts about 5 or 6% of that traffic. If you have no idea what you're doing, most websites maybe convert at 1%. So going from even 1% to 5%, as you can imagine, is a massive improvement depending upon how much traffic you're getting to this website. So knowing conversions is really important. So you're probably wondering, how do I convert traffic? Well, one of the simplest and most effective ways that I've found to do this is still a lead magnet. There are many forms of this. Many of us have heard of them. There's ebooks, there's online courses, there's guides, there's many ways to create a lead magnet. But the one that I've actually found to be the most effective are quizzes. People love quizzes. I mean, think about yourself, for example. How many personality tests have you taken, from the Enneagram to the DISC to the Myers-Briggs? People love to self-discover. And the cool thing is that you can give quizzes to people in any industry. Actually, one of the main call to action buttons on my website is actually a quiz that helps people discover if their website is converting how they want it to. And people love it. It actually gets me a lot of leads. But you can do this no matter what your industry is. And there's actually a really cool app. It's called Score App. I believe it's at scoreapp.com, where it'll help you figure out what is the best quiz. And then you can actually just put the link on your website where people can click it, go take the quiz, and then you end up getting a name and email once they finish the quiz. Really effective tool. Again, though, there's many ways to create lead magnets. And the trick here is to understand like where people are at in their journey and how you can provide the solution to the problem to help them take one step closer to you. But that's one of my favorite ways to capture people, is to use quizzes. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a lead magnet on your website. Of course, you could have just a contact form, or you could book a call with somebody. There's many ways to capture, but I think the key here is to know what single specific action do you want somebody to take on your website. Is that often we have what are called leak points, where people have way too many buttons they could push. They have way too many different directions they could go on your website, and people get overwhelmed and confused, and then they don't take any action at all. And then your conversion rate goes to less than a single percent, and that's not very good. So the trick here is that if you decide to use a lead magnet or not, just to make sure you know what that main call to action is, and then target everything focused around that specific action. So just as a final recap, is that traffic is what gets people to your website, trust builder is what lubricates that website, and call to action buttons is what actually converts that traffic. I hope this video is helpful. Like I said, website building, design, everything I just talked about in this episode is one of my favorite topics. If you'd like more information on this, please reach out. I love talking about it. Hope this was helpful. Talk to you guys soon. Love you. Peace. Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show. And if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter newsletter, and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.